How's it going? How's it going, everybody? Hey, Jordan and I are here. Love being with you guys. Jordan, a couple opening announcements. All right?
Yeah, bring it, bro. Bring it.
A couple fun announcements. One is this podcast has been listened to in 139 countries right now.
And these are like people, not like bots. These are like people listening to our content.
The two lowest countries, like
are
on
the
the
United
list.
States.
No, coming into the second lowest is Serbia.
Oh,
but listen to the numbers.
Serbia.
Listen to the numbers, though.
Okay.
We have 138 downloads in Serbia.
Maybe we need to like translate this. You know?
Yeah,
Maybe do some kind of like Google Translate while we do our podcast.
Kosovo, 137. So those two countries. But I was thinking about that.
That's a win, though.
It's a win.
That's totally a win.
Is it one person who's listened to a ton of our episodes?
Maybe.
Or is it like 2 or 3 families that have listened to like 40 apiece?
Right.
Like if you actually break it down, that feels like a lot.
It could be either. Does it also count that like we've now been in those countries, even though we haven't been in those countries, but we are in those countries?
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, that's weird.
Oh, dude, a couple more announcements. I shared with you before, doing a podcast is really weird and isolating. Like it's just Jordan and I here every week, just staring at each other, laughing, telling these stories, and you know someone's listening, but it's not like we have people coming up to us or like there's no live audience,
Right.
Yeah. So I was in Nashville for a little couples getaway with my wife Danielle, and something that just really encourages me is this man comes up to me, big old man. I mean, I'm 6'2", so he's probably 6'6", and he's like, "Hey, I know you, and I listened to your podcast."
No way.
And so I love it when people approach me on the streets, but I really love it, Jordan, when people talk about the podcast.
Dude, that's crazy. Someone said they recognize you in Nashville. That is so cool.
So we took a picture together, and it was
Nice.
just really nice. So if you see Jordan and I out on the streets,
Say hi.
just come up and say hi. You know?
All right, I want to hear about Nashville, but more importantly, all the parents listening right now want to know. You went on a couples retreat and you left your kids at home. Did they throw a major party while you were gone?
Oh yeah, when the Nana came to stay with the 8-year-old,
nice.
the 2 teenagers
Okay.
did good. But here, can I give
Good.
you like a little 30-second?
I want to know, what did you think? Some call it Nash Vegas. I've never been. I've always wanted to go. I used to live in Austin,
never
Texas.
been?
Never been, dude. I used to live in
Wow.
Austin, Texas, and they say Austin and Nashville are very similar. Music
Okay.
cities, country vibe,
Yeah,
barbecue, just fun live music. So give me your take on what did you think of it?
Anytime one of us travels to a new city, we should like a 30-second, 60-second recap, of
Yeah.
highlights.
Yeah.
Okay, here's some things that stood out to me. First off, Tennessee is beautiful. Oh my gosh. Like just getting off the plane into the rental car, I was like, we are not in California. Just the green,
Yeah.
the trees,
Especially
these
this time of
huge
year.
magnolia trees everywhere. The second thing that stood out to me is we're not even talking about Broadway, like the strip where all the honky tonks and the bars are.
Yeah.
I was just fell in love with the architecture. They have a lot of brick buildings.
Yeah, we do brick a lot in the South and the
Yeah,
East.
you have a lot of brick and a lot of like 2-story, 3-story, like the lawns are so manicured and everything is just.
Hold on. Did they have pine straw?
No.
We were talking about pine straw not too long. Okay,
Right.
so they didn't have pine straw there. Okay.
And so here's what I've learned about like Broadway, which is the main strip. So imagine like I was trying to describe it to somebody just yesterday. It's like 70 bars or clubs, all country music.
Nice.
Everybody has live music. Some of them are 3 to 4 stories, and they have live music on every floor. Here's kind of what my thought is. If you love country music, you're going to love Nashville.
Yeah. It just seems like a cool town.
If you don't love country music, you'll love Nashville for the coffee shops, for the restaurants, for the food.
Okay.
But my least favorite part of Nashville was actually just like honky tonk, the Broadway.
Yeah. Well,
Like
that's the
it's fun for,
tourist
like, a
trap
couple-
anyway,
yeah.
right? It's like, in order to really see a town, it's hard as a tourist because we want to go to all the tourist spots, right? But
Yeah.
when you're a local, it's like, no, let me take you to the cool spots.
But
I'm glad you liked it, man. It's cool.
Everyone's got to go. Like, if you're going to go to Nashville, you got to go to Broadway for at least one night. You go to one of the big bars like Garth Brooks, Jason Aldean's, Luke Bryan's, and you sit and listen to some really good music for a good night, and you'll love it. And if you love country music, then go again the next night. And if you don't, then there's a lot of other stuff to do.
Okay. Well, good. Thank you for your recap.
Right.
Would you give it a 7 out of 10?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the food, the coffee shop. Now, one last announcement. One of my best buddies came up to me.
While you were there?
He said, no,
just
recently. And he said, hey, man, just loving the podcast. I said, what? You listen? He's like, yeah, I listen all the time. I was like, oh, my gosh, it's so great. I was like, give me some feedback. Like, tell me what you like. And he said, my favorite episodes are the ones with Jordan. I love Jordan. I think he's so funny, and he's really relatable. Like, I see myself in him. And
nice.
I was like, oh, that really makes sense. He's like, yeah, like those are my favorite episodes. I just want to share that with you.
That's really nice. I thought you were going to go the completely opposite route and be like, dude, here's how you could do so much better. Maybe post more without Jordan.
No, he said stuff like, he just keeps it real. And
that's cool.
And he just like, I can relate with him because sometimes the way you talk, it's like it doesn't really click with me. But when Jordan says stuff, it's like, yes.
See,
so just wanted to share
think the balance is awesome because you are the wise elder and you have the elder wand, and I'm trying to come to you and I'm seeking wisdom from the guy who knows it all. And so I'm just coming in as like a viewer saying, dude, I have questions. Will you please feed my soul with your answers? So I like the dichotomy of it.
Oh, your friendship feeds my soul. I like how you said this. Today, here's what I wanted to do. I want to do something different. Something we've actually never done before. I don't know what we're going to entitle this episode, Jordan, but it might be called something like therapy with Sean or therapy for parents. And I took a complicated topic that I've been studying for like 10 years really intensely, but we don't really talk about it, and called codependency. And if you've been to therapy, deep therapy, then maybe you've done some work about this. Maybe you really know about how codependency works or it struggles in so much of our lives. And most of us haven't gone to a lot of therapy, so we're like, what is it?
Right.
And I thought it'd be fun if I just kind of shared with you all and with Jordan here. He hasn't even seen any of my notes about, hey, here's some thoughts on codependency. Here's a couple of really great quotes. Let's talk about it. Look at it into your own life, your own relationships, your own parenting, your own romantic relationship. You just grow your toolbox, grow your emotional intelligence, and we'll have a good, fun time together.
Yeah, I love it. And I think where we should start is just giving an idea of what it means, because in general conversation, it seems like if you get thrown out like, oh, you're codependent, it's like a negative connotation. Is that true?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I think
that's
so.
what I see.
It's a name. It's like calling someone you're codependent or you're so codependent. It's like a mean name,
right?
But on what is not mean, we should be really like, yeah, I struggle with codependency sometimes. Like, and I think the more you listen to this, I'd like to believe that 80, 90, 95% of human beings that I know, we actually do struggle with different forms of codependency. That's why I'm doing an episode on it. It's like pretty deep.
Okay.
It's like pretty elaborate.
Well, I want to hear what you have to say, because I, in my mind, have an argument as to why codependency is good. But before I say it, I kind of want to at least get your take on the whole idea of what it is. So let's.
Well, I wanted to put you on the spot actually to start off this episode, because I've been asking people this for a long time, and so there's no right or wrong answer. But can I put you on the spot and ask you, like, what do you think it is? Like, what do you think it means? Have you ever done read a book on it or talked to a therapist about it?
No, I do know that people use that term as like, oh, this kid is so codependent on blah blah blah, either their parents or another friend or their sibling. And if you're, let's say, a married couple, it's like, oh, you're just so codependent on your spouse, right? And in my thought, I'm like, so what? Like, I do depend on my wife to do X, Y, and Z, right? And she depends on me to show up for X, Y, Z. So why is it bad that we're codependent? We're working together. We're two people into one. Like, I think that's a good thing, right? Like, I don't know why it's bad, but if you use that term, it must mean like, oh, you're you're a weaker human being because you depend on someone else. I need you to become independent so that you can become strong and not dependent on someone else, maybe.
Gosh.
I don't know.
So good. I just love having you on this show.
I don't know.
Well, okay, let me, instead of changing the subject, let me just poke holes in what you just said, okay?
Please.
Okay, I love what you said, by the way. Well said. So the gist of which I heard you say is, people talk about codependency as bad, but I feel like really being, codependent here with my wife, like we need each other, that's good.
Right.
It's close. That's kind of what the gist was, right?
That's what I feel.
So then, based on your logic, is being independent good or bad? Healthy, unhealthy?
That's a great question. In this case, being independent would be unhealthy.
Gosh,
because you're not working together with
Right.
your other half, right? So people say like, "Oh, how you doing?" Or, "Hey, you want to go get some coffee this weekend?" Well, let me check with my better half, right? It's like I need to check with my other half to make sure it's
Right.
cool. So I'm not independently saying yes without making sure that this relationship I am in works.
What a great intro to the episode. Like, this wasn't planned. This wasn't planned. You know what? I realized this should have been planned because what we're talking about here, allow me to offer some words, right? I love words. And when we're talking about parenting and relationships, like words are helpful, like the growing your EQ vocabulary. So what we're actually talking about here is 3 words.
Okay.
On one extreme, you have independence.
Okay.
Which Jordan is,
I still think it's good, but yeah, in this case,
Jordan is actually very wisely, briefly talking about the dangers and the negative side of independence in marriage. You agree?
yes.
On the other extreme, we have something else that is also not healthy, which is called codependency.
Right, being too dependent on someone else.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the different forms of how that manifests in all of our lives right now.
Okay.
And then in the middle is what I think we want to strive for, which is what the experts called interdependence.
Ooh, okay. Interdependence.
Doesn't that make sense that they would come up with some type of word that's
Yeah.
like not
Sounds like
codependent and not
Independent.
independence? Because like being independent in a marriage, like fully independent, like, well, why'd you get married in the first place, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you need a helper.
Right.
That's why you want a helper and to be there, someone to be there for you and you for them.
Right.
But then you don't want to be totally needy and weak and so addicted and enmeshed in somebody else and their emotionals, right?
Right.
I wish they would come up with a better word than interdependent, though. It kind of just sounds like
Intergalactic, planetary, and interdependent.
you're gonna do this. Come up with a better word this episode than interdependent.
Okay, I'll
because
think about
that
it.
just sounds like something. Like if I were to say that to my wife, oh my gosh, she
Yeah,
would
don't use
shut
that
it
word.
down.
Don't use
She would say, "Don't say that, Sean."
Yeah.
Sean. Oh, I hate when you talk that way.
Right.
Right. Okay. All right. So here's a couple things. I got some quotes for us, but let's get it started. Here's 8 ways that codependency comes up and like lives out in our minds and our behaviors and our thought patterns and our actions.
Okay.
I've got 8 rules that I'm going to read to us. And then what I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you, Jordan, to tell me, do you identify with one of these 8 rules or kind of struggle with it? I already have mine picked out.
Okay.
I already know mine. Mine's number 7.
Okay.
Mine's number 7. Like it's not me. I don't think I'm codependent. I know I used to really, really struggle with this. 21 years of marriage, I really used to struggle with this. And then because of all this work I got to do, I kind of feel free. And it's still a struggle, but I don't feel like I am codependent. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, the first one is called the caretaker. So what does this mean? It means this person feels responsible for others' feelings, choices, and well-being. And they kind of gain their self-worth by fixing or saving others.
Okay. I like that.
Okay.
I could see myself in that in a lot of ways.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm
not identifying myself as that. I could see, like,
Right.
let's say we're in a group setting and we're all, me and you are talking about something and 3 other people show up. I'll make it a point to change the topic so everybody can get involved because they're all here instead of just us focusing on what we're talking about, just because
really
I
good.
care about what they're thinking and what if they're having fun, if we're at a party, are they enjoying life?
It's really good. Yeah, I think of like just so many great stay-at-home moms who just love their kids and they're nurturing and they're nursing and they're calendaring. But what the codependency is it crosses this line. That's like a good way of thinking about codependency and all these interdependencies is lines where now you're gaining your self-worth by really like over-parenting, by fixing, by saving, by getting these kids to behave in a way you want them to behave. Rule number 2, the people pleaser. This person has difficulty saying no, and they seek approval constantly.
Oh yeah, that's me too.
They're afraid of they're afraid of rejection or conflict.
Dude, I'm so codependent. This is terrible. Okay, good. This is good. Yeah.
You know, let's actually take a break real quick. I'm gonna read a great quote. Okay, let's take a break. Here's a couple quotes. Okay, here's a great quote. Here's one of my favorite quotes. Here it comes. Where is it? Okay. For this type of people pleaser, it's like codependents are pathologically caring, sacrificing, and consumed with the needs and the desires of others.
Okay, that's a good parent. That's what parents do, right? That's what we do.
Gosh, good pushback. Yeah.
And I think what you're alluding to, and a lot of us can maybe have this realization because I did. We find our identity in our kids for so long, right? We had our own identity. We got married. You know, now we've shared an identity with someone else. Now we become independent as a couple. Now we have kids. We have to completely shift that. Now we're focusing on these youth, and now our dependence becomes on making sure they're happy. They're going to practice. They're getting good grades. They're doing all this for 18 freaking years, and then they leave the house. And a lot of us go into a mini depression because it's like, what just happened over the last 20 years?
Right.
I was so dependent on them, and now they're gone.
Well said. Yeah, that would be, like on one hand you could say like that's normal. Like I'm an empty nester.
Right.
It's a hard transition. But on the other hand, it's like, well, you know, have you been living in a codependent relationship with your children over the last 20 years, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's like one of the best ways I like to teach about codependency is, and I'll read a quote on you it's similar to this in a minute. Think about your power. You have power. And your power is your own being, your own joy, your own emotional stability. And we don't want to give our power away to somebody else. If you give your power away to a spouse where you can only feel good, you can only feel happy, you can only feel content when they're acting a certain way, saying certain things, feeling certain things, agreeing with you on certain things. Like that, you cross the line. Yeah. And now you're giving your power away. And it's super complicated. This is why we're making this episode.
Complicated. Because, you know, if we don't allow any of that, then we're going to build up walls and we're not going to let anybody in. And we're just going to be an independent, I would say hermit because we don't want to let anybody in. And then we open the windows or roll down the walls and allow people in. And now our joy comes from them. But if we do too much... then it could be bad.
Building on what you just said is, can a spouse care for a spouse too little? Yes, right?
Yes.
Can a parent care for a child too little? Yes.
Totally.
Now, can a parent and a spouse care for someone too much?
See, that's a good question. No, I think the answer is no, but the real question is, will you then be impacted by how much you care if they don't do what you want to do or, anything that relies on your joy?
Right. That's why the word care is maybe not the best word. This is why we're playing with words so much tonight. Because if I cared about you so much that I could only be happy when you're happy.
Right.
Like there's this horrible saying in parenting, I'm only as happy as my least happy child.
Right.
That is like pretty much saying I'm a codependent parent here.
That's right.
I can only be happy when my boss is happy.
Yeah.
I can only be happy when my team wins.
But we do
hurt.
We do hurt when our children aren't happy, right? But you're just saying it shouldn't impact you.
Like here's a good word, I think. Emotional boundary.
Yeah. Right.
So like people that struggle with codependency, I won't say they, I'm going to say we. We struggle with those boundaries. So I think sometimes I do care too much about what my wife does, which my wife thinks, how she's reacting, how she's behaving. I just care too much.
So I have a story
The line is,
that just came up within this last couple of weeks. I was chatting with my siblings, and when they were younger, right?
Yeah.
I had left for school, and my mom had to go out of town. And the reason I asked you, like, were your girls good while you're out of town? Well, my siblings weren't necessarily at good when my parents went out of town, okay? And they threw a banger of a party, okay?
Chad, Brianna, shout out to you.
Just threw so many people, wall to wall in the house, like scary, like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to call the cops. There's so many people here.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, my mom finds out about it. She comes home. She's so hurt and upset. She gives them the silent treatment for 2 weeks. Did not speak a word to them for 2 weeks. Stonewalled. To this day, my sister is like, Mom, that was the worst punishment you could have ever given us, and it totally worked. I was so dependent on you communicating, showing love, taking us places, and she gave them nothing. And there's that codependency, right? With kids and parents, and she shut that down as a I can't trust you, so why should I be doing all this other stuff for you?
Interesting.
Yeah, it's super interesting.
Gosh. Or is that interdependency where you just have a wonderful teen daughter who loves her mom and was like, I hurt my mom and I just can't pretend to be happy because I know I've hurt her so much.
Right. That's a good point. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. Well,
I don't know.
you'd have to ask the teenage girl at the time.
Yeah.
Are you in a codependent relationship with your mom or is interdependent? Right.
Right.
Right. Who talks like that? Okay. Number 3 role that codependency can take in our lives is the controller. Okay. So the first one's a caretaker. Second one's people pleaser. Third one's controller. What is this? It means they try to manage or control others, even with good intentions, to feel safe or needed. And these can be subtle.
Okay.
Like helpful advising, reminding, or they could be really overt, like demanding, manipulating.
Yeah. The hard part about people who do that is I think they mean well, but it comes across as not well at all. It's like, stop talking, stop giving me your advice. It's not always right. You think it's your road, your way or the highway, and it really drives people away.
Mm-hmm. I think my guess is that if there was somebody like 28 or younger listening to this right now, they might think of codependency as number 4. Number 4 role, the low self-esteem codependent.
Okay.
So described as this person kind of struggles with their self-worth and identity, and they kind of depend on external validation for feelings like, am I enough? And
I think all of us have a little of that in us. Think about like middle school. You're not comfortable with who you are at that time. You're looking for approval from others, and you don't know where you are. You're on this journey trying to figure it out. So there's a little bit of that in everybody along our journey of growing up and figuring out who we are.
Yeah.
So we're codependent on society or the popular kids or the jocks. Like, I just need approval from someone.
Yeah, like how about the A+ doctor, the A+ lawyer who's just exceeded and excelled. They're an overachiever. They could actually be codependent on their career. Like, I need these things. Yeah. I need this work. I need this money
that's their identity.
Because this is who I am.
Right.
This is my identity.
Right.
Right. And the thing I think of mostly is like, I'm just imagining this like really toxic high school relationship or this really unhealthy relationship of two 22-year-olds, and they're arguing, and one of them says to another, like, you make me feel so bad about myself, right? You make me feel like crap, like I'm nothing. I feel this way because of you. Do you sense how that's like rooted in codependency?
Yeah.
Like, no one can make you feel anything. It's like, you're giving your power away to this teenager for your identity.
A lot of people, especially in this country, in America, we get our identity is what we do. It's like, oh, nice to meet you, Sean. What do you do for a living? It's like the first thing you talk about. What do you do for a living? What do you spend a lot of your time on? How are you making money? And for some of us, that is their identity. Can you, and whether that's healthy or not, I think it can very much be not healthy. Can you give us some ideas of what other categories we could use to help give us some identity? If it's not career, which society wants us to have, is it sports? Is it hobbies? Is it
what a
people?
What a great question, right? So like
Religion.
Just this week, I had a doctor. He's in my membership. I've got numerous doctors in the membership, and he was like, I'm kind of flipping back to my old ways. I'm being really reactive. I'm not listening to my kids. I'm being sharp. And I was like, well, tell me more. What's going on? And he says, well, I'm tired. I'm working with people from 8 until 5, and then I come home.
Yeah.
And so started chatting about a few things, Jordan. And one of the things we started chatting about was him working less.
I was just going to say that. But,
right.
I mean, yeah.
But do you think doctors want to work less?
Right.
Do you think lawyers? Do you think CEOs? Do you think people that are high achievers want to be told to work less?
Right. No way.
Because why? Why don't they want to work less, man?
Because they're go-getters. They want to accomplish. They want to succeed. They want to thrive. They want to help. They want to make money. Right. They want to. You can keep going.
And it keep going. It could become part of your identity.
But you're right. It could be a problem with families. It could be I mean, the classic movie of Elf. The dude meets his dad, and his dad's too busy to hang out with him, right? He's writing this dumb children's book, and it's like, dude, you've had this kid this whole time. You should go on a walk and get to know him.
Well said. Okay, let's keep going down the roles. Number 5, the denier. The denier. Characteristics include this person kind of ignores other people's thoughts, boundaries, their needs, their feelings. They kind of pretend everything's fine. Why? Because they don't want to feel feelings of shame or conflict. So that's a little bit of a reach for me of how that's codependency. That just sounds like more of like interdependence, or independence, right? But you could make this is why, and this is a good example of why codependency is so confusing, because this person is so like giving their power away to other people. So they hate feeling rejected by someone, conflict with someone, and I need you to treat me a certain way and to not have conflict with me. And because I give you so much of this power, whenever you do have conflict, I'm just going to pretend it's not even there. I'm going to deny it.
Yeah.
See?
That's more of like a surface relationship, like not really getting to the root of a problem with your buddy because you're worried about the repercussions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's fear too, and that's, I don't know. Some of us could think like, I don't have time to deal with their BS, right? Like, I don't care what's bothering them. Like, I got my own stuff going on. Like, grow up, pull your pants up. But I think you always say, pull your pants up. Pull up them britches and get back to work, okay? There's a balance there.
Yeah. How about the next role? Okay, this one is definitely in the codependence category. The rescuer or the enabler.
Ooh.
Okay, so think enabler, you're thinking addiction.
Yeah.
You're thinking screen addiction,
right.
Food addiction, alcoholic addiction. The woman who really kind of put the word and the term on this map, her name is Melody Beattie, and she wrote a really famous book, I think in the early 90s, called Codependent No More. And she was married to an alcoholic for a long time, and so she was an enabler. She was like pampering him, and she was like, I need him to be happy.
Right.
I'm okay if he drinks, but I have to survive. So characteristics of this: protects others from consequences of their actions. This can be especially found in addiction or just irresponsibility. They're thinking to myself, if I do not help, they'll fall apart.
I mean, it's hard too, because like when you love someone, you want to help them. So the question is, are you helping them by making them happy, or are you helping them by making them hurt? And both could be true. It's like, I'm going to keep you from this drug, and it's going to hurt, and you're going to hate me, but I love you, and it's for your overall good. But the easy thing is, no, I love you. Here, be happy. Take more. Life is great.
Yeah, here's some more sugar.
Right.
I'm just going to keep ignoring your relationship with drugs or alcohol. I'm just going to keep ignoring your relationship with screens, because you know what? If They need those things. And if they don't have those things, they'll fall apart.
Yeah.
And I don't want to see them fall apart.
Yeah, that's a good point. And maybe it's not them. Maybe it's you. Maybe you're gonna fall apart. It's like I just have to give them this because I can't deal with it.
I can't see them hurting.
Right? I can't see them hurting, or B, I don't want to deal with the tough times ahead if I'm strict.
Yeah.
So just take the iPad, take the ice cream. We're not going to deal with this right now. I have no time for it.
Oh my gosh, we can probably should make a whole episode on that. I just published a new book. It's called How to Break Screen Addiction and Stop It Before It Starts. It's free. I used to charge people for this book, and now you can get it. You can read it online. It's 99 pages long, and I have a pretty large section in there about enabling screen overuse and screen addiction. And parents, you've got to stop enabling screen addiction.
How do we get it? Can we download it on like?
Just go to my website, parentingmodernteens.com.
Or like, is there audiobooks or anything? Dude, let me read your book. Let me read it. I want to read it. I want to be the audio version of your book.
It's actually on my to-do list to turn into an audiobook. I'm going to do it hopefully next week.
Dude, that's awesome.
Now, before we move on, I have to say something that's kind of controversial. It's going to sting a lot of parents. It's going to sting, but I need to say it. Okay, when we think about this role of like the rescuer or the enabler, we were just talking about substances and screens and addictions, but I have to say something where I see this play out all the time. Here it comes. This is going to sting. Are you ready? I see this a lot in parents who have children who have ADD and ADHD now.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
By giving excuses?
Yeah, they're just like over-parenting. They're rescuing this kid. They're pampering. They're making excuses. They're saying like, if I'm not on this kid all the time, they're going to fall apart. And then what happens is they become the super parent, rooted in love, but then the child becomes codependent on the parent's parenting. Right. So the child then doesn't really step up, kind of plays dumb. They keep making excuses. The parent then calls me and says, hey, my child's 16, going down a really bad path. I'm exhausted. My child hates me.
Right.
What do I do? Because
Right.
I've been parenting this way for the last 10 years. That's what happens.
Well, the hard part is for us parents, we feel like we're going to lose our kids. Like I'm just thinking right now, if I have a kid who has a drinking problem, they're underage and they're constantly going out and for whatever reason, they call me to pick them up. I'm going to be the rescuer. I'm going to go pick them up because I don't want you to make a bad call.
Yeah.
But it's like if I do it too much, then I become the rescuer and I don't let them get the experience that maybe they need. The problem is, what if that experience leads to drinking and driving, getting in a wreck, getting arrested?
I know.
Right. It's so tough
Right.
for us parents to figure out what the right call is.
Right. Confusing topic. Enabling. Very confusing. All right. Number 7 role. And this is the one that I struggle with. It's called the dependent, which is they attach their emotional survival to another person, or like fears abandonment to the point of staying in an unhealthy relationship or just staying in an unhealthy dynamic.
So give us an example.
Right. So the way it kind of plays out in my life is like I really don't like I'm not very comfortable when my wife gets very angry and upset at me, especially.
Yeah, none of us do.
Right? So
It's not
the
easy.
aggression, the name calling, the stonewalling,
Throwing
the
knives at
scolding,
me,
the
pulling the
shaming.
gun. Just teasing.
And so I used to had a really hard time with that. So
Yeah.
in the much earlier part of marriage, I would just kind of avoid or shut down.
Sure. I could completely understand as to why you would do
Yeah.
that. I would probably
Yeah.
do the same thing.
Yeah, very common marriage dynamic
Yep.
where one person is more like hot-tempered or aggressive or vacillator or anxious, and the other person then, their spouse, kind of struggles with avoidance patterns.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Super common.
Yeah.
But then, of course, me avoiding would then make her more anxious and aggressive.
Oh, I'm sure.
Right?
I'm sure.
And then round and round we would go. So then I learned some good tools to try to help, to try to be there for her, to comfort her. But then that slipped into kind of people pleasing.
Got
Right?
it. Yep.
You with me?
Yeah.
So I struggle with people pleasing sometimes. I'm just trying to say something or even faking it.
Yeah, to lower the steam, to lower the threshold, turn down the temperature a little bit. Totally.
So
I'm giving you what you want to hear. Why are you still mad? Yeah, I get it.
So then I realized, wait, this is like, I think we're like codependent on each other here.
Yeah.
Right? She wants me to say certain things, act a certain way, apologize a certain way, feel a couple different things, say things the way she wants me to say them. And I'm just need her to just try to calm down so I can feel safe. And round and round we would go. So when it says the dependent attaches my emotional survival to another person, I don't like the word survival. A better word would be I have a hard time finding joy and peace and like that good feeling in your life when your spouse is not doing well.
Right.
You with me?
Yeah, I am. I mean, it's hard to get there, man. A lot of us stay in this cycle for years, decades, right? Whether it's with your spouse, whether it's with your kids. A lot of us too, like, especially with guys, in this dynamic that you're talking about, we don't necessarily want to like talk it out and go through the whole process of breaking everything down. It's like, let's just move on and try again. It's like, you're up to bat.
Yep.
You struck out. Well, next time, let me try again. I don't want to go back and watch film and figure out why I messed up. I just want to try again and do better next time.
I think that what you're talking about is a little bit more. I love what you're saying. I totally agree. But it's like keep using my hands here. It's like independence. Men especially, I'm just trying to say the same thing you said there. We don't want to spend the time to do the hard, long conversations about feelings and this and that. We just let's just move on. But that can be more of all the interdependent or independent side when on the other extreme would be, I need to talk about this for hours and hours and hours and we need to break it down and that could be more codependent.
Right, and it's emotionally draining. And then the question is, does it actually work? So you got both theories. Let's say if one's not working, try the other one.
Yeah.
Try to get in the middle. Speaking of which, I came up with a word in the middle, I think.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so you have independent, you have codependent. I think the middle should be omnidependent. Omnidependent, right? So I just thought of you have a carnivore, you have an herbivore, you have an omnivore. They eat both meat and veggies, right? So you have interdependent. Instead of interdependent, it's independent, codependent, omnidependent. You'll do both.
I actually like that.
Instead of interdependent.
Inter. Yeah, because what does inter? It doesn't.
I'd have to look at the origin of omni. Anyway, we can.
Both.
I digress. Right? I digress.
No, it's good. Yeah, it's good. Okay, number 8 role. The passive-aggressive codependent.
Those are tough. They're all over the place, man. Those are everywhere.
Now, this person bottles up resentment.
Oh.
Okay, so now I'm thinking of the wife who is just in this marriage a long time, and they have a lot of resentment built up in their heart.
Sure.
Or I'm thinking of the husband who's married to a really nagging, negative wife.
Yeah.
He just loves this woman, but he's just resentful. Like,
sure.
Why are you so negative? Why are you just nagging?
You're mad again? What I do now?
You're mad again.
Right.
And this could be obviously husband and wife switch it,
switch
whatever
them around.
you want. Now,
Totally.
They bottle up resentment and they express it indirectly through sarcasm, procrastination, or moodiness rather than open communication.
Dude.
Oh my gosh, I know a couple who does this.
This is so good.
The sarcasm and the negativity, the snarky jabs that
Yeah.
these two do at each other. Do you know anybody like that?
Yeah. It's like, do you guys do you like this? Is this part of
Yeah.
this is how we get okay.
Right. Like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
You're like embarrassing yourselves in front of the group.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, you have couples over for like a dinner and they just poke fun at each other. It makes you awkward. You're like, what? You should be you should be like supporting each other. Yeah, I know those two.
All right, I have an idea. I think we should, let me think about it if we'll do it. I'm not closing our episode, but I think what we could do is we could talk next week together about how to thrive in
dependent
relationships. Because like here's a couple stats about the research says that about 40 to 50% of people raised in dysfunctional families show some level of codependent behavior as an adult. So that would be me and my wife. And so that would make sense that we're we're in that 40%.
I think what I'm learning about, this specific podcast, but a lot of the ones we've done, is like, no matter what, if you're in a parent-kid relationship listening to us right now, if you're in a husband and wife relationship, or you're a couple listening to us, no matter what, I think what we need is a third party to help us break this down. It's really hard for us to work on ourselves when all we do is have me and my spouse, and we're trying to pick each other apart, and it's not healthy. It's almost like we all need a mentor to be like, hey, this is what I see from both of you, okay? Now let's work on this, because ultimately, how are we supposed to do this alone?
Well said, man. If I were to put my numbers on this, from my experience, here's what I feel is true. 45% of the adults struggle with strong issues of codependency. And 45% of the adults struggle with strong issues with independency. Doesn't that make sense?
I guess.
And these are all rooted in kind of our childhood issues, our childhood trauma, our childhood culture.
Right.
Like if you grew up with two parents and they were just extremely independent.
Yeah.
They weren't really a team.
Right.
They weren't lovey-dovey.
Right.
They weren't supportive, nurturing. I know a lot of people and a lot of clients are like, yes, were my parents. And then now they're having marriage issues because their spouse is like, no, I want us to be close. I want to be a team.
Right.
I want to feel like you're with me. You're comforting me, and I'm with you.
Yeah.
You don't let me comfort you, right?
Yeah. And what's interesting, that's from a couple's perspective, but from a parent perspective, we have to teach our kids not to be too independent or too codependent, right? We have to teach that. So how are we supposed to teach that if we're on one side?
Oh my gosh.
Dude, it's so hard.
Yes. I have a section of my new book that I'm so happy. I've been writing it for 4.5 years. I am almost done. I know I've been saying that for a year now. But here's a great little thing you could say to your kids. You could say, hey, driving in the car, one kid bothers another, and now that kid's reacting. Right. Oh, been there, done that.
Of course.
Here's a couple scripts for you. Hey, I know that's upsetting, right? Yeah, my sibling's so annoying. Yeah.
He did it first. Right.
Right, I get it. But here's the thing. Like, do you want to let your sibling have this power over you? What do you mean, Dad? Well, do you want to let your sibling have this power over you? Mm-hmm. Well, I can't just like ignore that. I said you can. I did. You annoy me all the time. You annoyed me in this car. And did I flip out? No, because I'm not going to give you this power. Yeah. You're this years old. Do you think it'd be a good decision for me? Every time you act like a child, I act like a child. You think is that a good call? You want me to act that way? No.
You're my dad. You're a parent.
Right. Well, see, the same thing for you. Your sibling is 2 years younger than you.
Yeah.
So do you want to, like, every time they act like a kid, annoying, you're then going to react back? Do you really want to live that way?
And what's interesting is if they were to come, you could tell them, like, listen, if you were to do this, your sibling's going to freak out because they're codependent on you reacting. They're so codependent on you. If you ignore it, they're not going to know what to do.
Right. Well said. So, see, you don't have to react. The same thing with the sibling, but also son, daughter, other kids at school. Like, they're kids. Do you really want to give your power away to other kids at school, to bullies, to your crush, to a mean teacher? Me. Do you want me, if I have a bad day, does that mean you have to have a bad day? No. Right? So see, you are a strong, independent, lovely person. And so it's good to feel and be caring about other people's feelings. That's good. But you got to remember there's a line, there's a boundary, and you don't want to cross it.
Dude, that's really good advice. Like 5-star advice.
So I think we'll do this. I'll talk to Jordan, and we'll see if we want to do a whole nother episode on how to build omni-dependent relationships.
It's my word.
And how to teach them to their children. Because I can see, I think we're all hopefully agreeing that this is a pretty complicated topic.
So tough.
We don't really talk about very much.
No, we don't. And obviously it impacts what you said, 40% one side, 40% the other side, 80% of the people we surround ourselves with.
That's just me throwing up.
Oh,
no,
okay.
That's just,
but it's probably true.
45 plus 45.
Oh, okay, 90%.
So I'm thinking,
yeah.
How many people grew up in like a super healthy
Oh, yeah.
home
It's all over the place.
where the mom and dad have a healthy interdependent relationships with each other.
Right.
They have good friendships outside of the marriage. They are loving. They're committed. They stay married. They don't get divorced. They're not codependent on money, on their fame, on drugs. Like, this is got to be less than 10% of the American population.
Yeah, good point. No, this is good. I think it would be wise for us to figure out how to teach this to our kids. So we could talk offline about that. I hope everybody was listening to all those categories, and can they maybe put them into one? I'm definitely the top two.
Yeah, right off the bat, you're like,
top two for sure.
So that would be I'll go through the list again. Caretaker and people pleaser.
Yeah, I'm less and less of a people pleaser now that I'm getting older. And as you get older, that's why the grandparents have no filter. They don't care anymore. It's like, as I get older, I just don't care anymore how other people think. So I'm starting to become less of a people pleaser.
Me too.
But I'm still a caretaker.
So caretaker, people pleaser, controller, the low self-esteem, codependent. Number 5 is the denier. Number 6, the rescuer / enabler.
Yep.
Spend a lot of time on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Number 7 is the dependent.
Yep.
Emotionally enmeshed is a good word when you think about codependency. Enmeshed. It's like your emotions are enmeshed in somebody else's behavior or how they think. And number 8, the passive aggressive codependent. I think that is enough for today.
Love it.
Woo!
Thank you. This is good.
We all just filled our toolboxes with good stuff. Hey, thank you for letting Jordan and I be in your lives. We both share our stories and of our families on our Instagram stories. So if you ever want to see a little bit into our lives, follow us on Instagram. Check out our stories. And if you see us out in the streets, come and say hi. I love seeing people. And just thanks for letting us be in your life.
Thanks, everyone.